Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. In our group presentation, we will share about table tennis or also known as ping pong. This is our group members Nazura, Najwa, Husnina and Aisha.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Husina. So, as the introduction of table tennis, I would like to ask you first. Most of us know about this game of table tennis, but do you really know how this game was first created and when it came from? Okay, so from my research, I have found out that this game was first conceived by a British officer in 1881. He used the dining table and filled it with a set of books at the middle of the table. If you want to know, after that, the people in that time mimicking the game of tennis in indoor environment by use daily objects and were originally enlisted to act as the equipment. Other than they make a line of book as a net, they also make a rounded top of a chain-page cord or knots of string as the ball and a checkerboard lead as the racket. The game was actually invented in England in the early days of the 20th century, and it was originally called ping pong as a trade name as from the sound of hitting ball. Then, the name table tennis was adopted in 1921 until 22, when the old ping pong association formed in 1902 was revived. So the original association had broken up about around in year 1905. But then apparently, the game continued to be played in parts of England outside London. After that, by the 1920s, it was being played in many countries, led by representative of Germany, Hungary, and England. The International Table Tennis Federation was founded in 1926, where the founding members being from England, Sweden, Hungary, India, Denmark, Germany, Austria, and Wales. By the mid of 1990s, more than 165 national associations were members. Okay, next. The first World Championships were held in London in 1926, and from then until 1939, the game was dominated by players from Central Europe. The men's team event being won nine times by Hungary and twice by Czechoslovakia. In the mid of 1950s, Asia emerged as a breeding ground of champions, and from that time, the individual and team events for both men and women have been dominated by athletes from China. So, in 1980, the first World Cup was held, and Gu Huihua of China won the $12.5 as the first prize. So, table tennis became an Olympic sport in 1988 with singles and double competition for men and women. Okay, now, what are the objectives of this game? First, to hit the ball so that it goes over the net and bounces on the opponent's half of the table in such a way that the opponent cannot reach it or return it correctly. Second, win the match by accumulating enough points to exceed half of the maximum possible. Okay, now let's go to the equipments of the table tennis. There are 4 basic equipments which are table, net, ball and racket, or people oftenly call paddle. The requirements of the equipments are important to take note, as each can affect the smoothness of game. Okay, first, the table. The ITTF specifies that the official table tennis table used in the tournament must be 9 feet long, which is 2.74 meter, and 5 feet wide, which is 1.5 meter, and must place 30 inches above the ground. They can come in either green, blue, or black color, and are made from hardboard. The surface must be smooth to provide the lowest friction possible. As you can see at the picture, there are label or name of every line on the table, which are side line, central line, and end line. These lines are referred to as boundary lines, and therefore any ball landing outside and beyond their limits are out of bounds. Since the boundary lines are intentionally drawn a finite distance away from the edge of the table, any ball which can deflect due to striking the edge is out of bounds, and the point should go to the receiving player. Next, the net that have to suit and fit the table. It should be 6 feet long, and 6 inch wide. It also should have an upper wide tip that is not more than 15 millimeter wide. Also, the net have to include an assembly that can be attached to the middle of the tennis table. Okay, then we go to the ball, which is the one of most important equipment in table tennis game. We should know that the ball that used in the game have weight of 2.7 grams. It can be a small celluloid or plastic ball that is white or orange in color. These are depending on the preference of the player. The ball can come in different qualities, with those possessing 3 stars being the best kind that recommended for beginners. Also, they come in a variety of sizes ranging from 38 mm to 54 mm in diameter. However, the 40 mm diameter ball is used mainly in international ligas and competitions. It is the one specified by the International Table Tennis Federation, ITTF. Next, the first basic equipment is racket of table tennis, or we call it paddle. It used to hit the ball back and forth on the table. The shape is similar to the one used for tennis, except it is smaller and made of different materials. The racket is made of wood and rubber. It is divided into 2 parts, which is the handle and the blade. The quality of both parts of the racket can affect the force applied by the player. The player must choose the best kind of racket to get good results. Aside from that, the player must take note of the rubber used on the blade. This is because it can affect the type and amount of spin used in hitting the ball. Beginners are recommended to acquire the pre-made ones to avoid the confusion of making customized ones for the professional. Last one, as an addition, this is one of the important things that players should careful about it, which is their clothing to play the table tennis game. Other than to have the comfortable while playing, they have to make sure to check the rules before choosing their outfit, as if they're not adhering to the dress code, it can lead to disqualification. First, wear half-sleeve shirt so that it will not interfere with the paddle or ball, and any color but not white, especially when they use white ball. For female, they can wear skirts, while male short, as to ease their movement. They also have to put socks and wear sport shoes that high of friction force to avoid any injury, and of course to smoothness their movements too.
The other crucial aspect of table tennis is definitely the rules. Generally, the rules are very simple and direct. Player get a point when the opponent is unable to hit the ball with a paddle over the net and onto the other side of the table. But there are certain conditions that we must pay attention to. First is this table tennis will be played up to 11 points. This means that the first player that able to reach 11 points or those with 2 points ahead of his or her opponents will be the winner. This is what we call as the best 3 games or the best 5 games. Each player get to serve for 2 times on each side of the table alternately. For a single tournament, which consists of only 2 players, there is no restriction on where the ball lands on your side or your opponent's sides of the table. If the ball bounces 2 or more times on your opponent's side, the point will be yours because this considered that the opponent is failed to return the ball. But if there's 4 players, which means it is a double tournament, the serve must bounce in the server's right court and the receiver's right court, and the doubles partner will switch places after their team serves twice. Next one is volley is not allowed. What is meant by this is that like when you play regular tennis, you may volley the ball, meaning is you hit the ball before it bounces on your sides of your net. But in table tennis, if you do so, point will be given to your opponents. Another scenario is if you hit the ball in a rally or on a serve and it bounces back over the net after hitting your opponent's side of the table due to extreme spin, without opponents touching it, that will be your point. Bear in mind that you are disallowed to touch the table with the hand that not holding the paddle or non-paddle hand. Now, let's proceed with the scoring system. Before 2001, table tennis game was played up to 21 points. As the new scoring system was implemented, it now be changed to only 11 points in order to make the games more appealing to the television viewers. The winner is the player or a pair who first scores 11 points, unless both players or pairs score 10 points. When this situation happened, it terms as deuce. Then, a game will be won by the first player or pair to gain a 2-point lead. And as I mentioned earlier in the rules part, each player can serve twice before the opponent can make the serve. The player can lose their point if any of the situation listed below takes place. Firstly is when the player make a faulty serve or return due to several factors like they hold the paddle wrongly or making a heavy spin. Secondly is when the player allow the ball to bounce more than once on their side of the table. Thirdly is when the ball is still in the so-called in-play state and the player eagerly or subconsciously hit the ball using the paddle or hit the ball twice. Last but not least is the players are strictly not allowed to touch the table with their free hands, which is the hand that is not used to hold the bat and also not allowed to touch the net.
Hi and Assalamualaikum, I am Siti Aisyah.
And I am Najwa Nazira. So we will show you on how to play table tennis. Let's go! Let's move on to the type of serve. There are 4 types of serve in table tennis, which are forehand serve, backhand serve, high toe serve, and backspin serve. First of all, for forehand serve, it is a type of serve in table tennis that are commonly used approach to serving, specifically for beginning players. A forehand serve is when a player starts their swing on their hand side and finish the swing across the body. For example, a right-handed player will swing to the left side of their body and a left-handed player will swing to the right side. Secondly, the backhand serve is referring to a player that starts the swing across the body and finishing on their arm side. A right-handed will start their swing on the left side and swing to the left, and left-handed will start their swing on the right side and swing to the left. Backhand serve are less common to see than forehand serve at the recreation level, but they can be very useful to help mix things up when serving to the opponent. The third one is backspin serve, which is very common serving techniques that is used in table tennis. Backspin serve can be performed with both the forehand and backhand by striking the bottom of the ball in order to apply backspin on the ball. The excellent backspin serve will land close to the net on the opponent's side, which is very difficult to return back. Last but not least, the high toss serve in table tennis is a good technique for applying a lot of spins of the ball. This technique is commonly done with a player's forehand and requires the players to throw the ball in about 16 cm in the air before striking. Before the ball falls, the player's arm action upon striking the ball will result in a serve with a lot of spin that is very often hard to react.
Now we already know about the history of table tennis, the equipment, the rules, the scoring system, and types of serve. But maybe some of us do not know how to play table tennis. Here, I will show you tips of player's position and how to play table tennis. First, we need to know the position of the player. In a standing position, legs slightly open and the knee slightly bent. Why the knee need to be bent? Because the movement will be easier and the energy to serve will be more. It is like we push our body and the serve will be more power. With this position, the hand holds the bat and plays like this. This is the easiest way to hold the bat. Hands must hold the bat neatly and tightly in this part. And this is the basic position to play table tennis. Next, the movement and direction. We need to hit the ball forward and upward, like this. In this position, with the knees bent, forward and upward, like this. To beginners, we can practice using this method because it is easy and safe. Hopefully, this explanation can help us all to understand and learn how to play table tennis.
There is 7 successful steps. Number 1, learn the most important rules. Number 2, master the basic skills in ping pong. Number 3, learn several types of service and returning serve. Number 4, understand tactics, the psychology, and the match play. Number 5, choose the right equipment. Number 6, learn how to train and practice daily. And number 7, go to professional levels. In addition, who serves first in the table tennis? In top flight table tennis competition, service is decided by the toss of the coin. People playing just for fun often decide the right to serve by having a short rally. Whoever will start the serve does not make an error. Next, on how to serve in table tennis. The player releases the ball behind the edge of the table and hits it so that it bounces on his or her side of the table and then strike the ball. It then bounces once in the opponent's court. If a serve goes straight into the net and does not pass over the court on the other side, then it is point for the opponent. If a serve hits the net but goes over, it is considered a let and can be taken again with no penalty. The opponent has to return by returning the ball before it bounces twice and must hit it directly over the net into the opposing court. It should not be bounced in the player's own court by themselves as in the serve. The players then alternate playing the ball and having it bounce on the opponent's side of the table until a player makes an error. As a conclusion, table tennis or ping pong is one of the popular games today. It is suitable to play for all ages and can play under all conditions. Table tennis is a fun game. Playing it can help burn calories at high rate. It also helps people who have arthritis because this kind of exercise is gently on hands joint. Table tennis also can play with friends and keep social networks strong.